From 13 straight wins in WorldSBK to the brutal unknowns of MotoGP, Toprak Razgatlioglu steps into the Pramac garage not as a rookie, but as a storm. This is the prelude to chaos, a prophecy set for 2027 when the rules reset and legends fall. He left a world he already conquered, 13 wins in a row, 15 of 16, 616 points. The most in his life. The kind of domination that makes the world run out of adjectives. But Toprak Razgatlioglu didn't want to live in adjectives. He wanted to live in war. When the Turkish Thunder stepped out of BMW's pit box in Jerez for the final time, the air felt heavier than usual. It wasn't just a goodbye, it was a threat. A three-time WorldSBK champion walking away from comfort, from surety, from God-level control into the chaos of MotoGP, a championship that breaks men for breakfast. He didn't chase fame. He chased physics. And that's where this gets dangerous. Pramac Yamaha will be his 2026 address, with Jack Miller as the neighbor, a team that knows how to grind from satellite shadows. No illusions of red carpet entry, no prayers for immediate victory, just sweat, telemetry, and an obsession that borders on delusion. And yet, he already said it himself. Maybe in 2027, I do special things. That's not arrogance. That's foresight, because when the rules reset, when engines, aero, and tires all go back to zero, the hunter inside him smells a new kind of blood. So here's the question. Is MotoGP ready for Toprak's chaos, or will MotoGP swallow him before he learns how to speak its language? Comment your verdict before the lights go out. Everyone loves to call Toprak a different breed, but nobody talks about how much pain that difference costs. In WorldSBK, he made the impossible look casual, a man who could slide, stop, and summon grip out of thin air. He wasn't racing lines, he was rewriting geometry. That R1 danced because he forced physics to kneel. But MotoGP, that's not a dance floor. That's a gunfight in slow motion. The Pramac Yamaha experiment begins in 2026 under a sky thick with skepticism. The paddock doesn't expect miracles. In fact, many quietly expect disaster. Toprak's biggest enemy isn't Marc Marquez or Pecco Bagnaia. It's adaptation. MotoGP bikes don't react to your faith. They react to millimeters, to the cold language of carbon, to tire whispers that change with humidity. The carbon brakes don't wait. The Michelin front punishes hesitation. The seamless gearbox and ride height devices mock late braking. And Toprak? He lives for late braking. He's going to enter corners that physics says no to. And that's where the cameras will start trembling. Because the Turkish style doesn't adapt. It invades. Yamaha believes in him like gamblers believe in their last coin. They watched him burn down WSBK with rhythm, but MotoGP is a stage built on data, not rhythm. He'll share the garage with Miller, a man who's seen every shade of chaos, from KTM's madness to Ducati's precision. Jack won't teach Toprak how to ride. He'll teach him how not to die trying. The world expects him to break, but so did they when he left Yamaha for BMW. And we all saw what happened there. Domination. Still, this isn't Jerez anymore. This isn't a paddock where Pirelli covers your sins. This is a factory-fed blood sport where milliseconds get men fired. And there's no Phil Marin now, no comfort of his WorldSBK crew chief. He's walking into MotoGP stripped of hierarchy, stripped of privilege, starting again from dust. He's 29, too old for excuses, too young to fear failure. Perfect age for defiance. He's been told to focus on the second half of 2026, post-summer break, when the mind and muscle align. The danger isn't in losing races, it's in losing confidence before he even starts. The grid doesn't wait for you to catch up, it erases you from memory. But Toprak has already declared his timeline. I'm waiting for 2027. Because 2027 changes everything. New engines, reduced aero, Pirelli tires replacing Michelin, a reset of all accumulated comfort, and in chaos, he thrives. So who's really the rookie here? The man entering a new world, or the veterans waiting for a rule book that burns their comfort zone? Drop your thoughts. Who adapts first when the lights of 2027 hit? Imagine the first test. Sepang, February 2026. The heat thick enough to choke silence. The Pramac garage hums like a heart about to skip a beat. Miller sits quietly, visor half lifted, while Toprak stands at the corner, gloves on, but eyes distant. He's staring at the M1. It's not a bike, it's an alien. Carbon fiber spine, electronics wrapped like secrets, throttle sensitivity that punishes emotion. He climbs on it, and the first thing he notices is the space. Smaller, tighter, crueler. The tank feels like a cage, the seat a confession booth. Then he hits the ignition. The Yamaha screams differently. Not the metallic roar of his old R1, but a cold, surgical shriek, the kind that cuts rather than sings. He rolls out. First lap. The paddock holds its breath. He turns in late, too late, brakes like it's 2021. The rear flicks. The data engineers flinch. But somehow, he holds it. The rear tire spits smoke. The onboard camera catches the slide, the full Toprak lean, knee and elbow scraping the same pixel of asphalt. He returns to the pit and the crew stares like they've seen an exorcism. But his face says it all. The bike doesn't understand me, yet. Each test, each day, the line between human and machine thins. The first sprints of 2026 will hurt. Toprak will qualify deep, P16, maybe worse. He'll fight through corners like a man trying to punch through glass. His braking entry will betray him. The electronics will mute his instincts. But one day, maybe Mugello, maybe Sachsenring, something clicks. The braking marker holds, the Yamaha obeys, and suddenly that Toprak swagger returns. From there, chaos is back on the menu. The Turkish slide meets Japanese precision, and the audience finally sees the glimpse, the spark of what's coming. A top 5 finish. Maybe a podium in wet conditions. But that's not the headline. The headline is how he fights. Every overtake will feel personal. Every corner exit will look like revenge. He won't ride for points, he'll ride for symbolism. A message to those who said he'll never adapt. MotoGP is a sport of patience, but Toprak rides like patience is a disease. By the time we hit the back half of 2026, he'll no longer be a curiosity. He'll be a conversation. And if anyone doubts it, go ask BMW why their garage still feels empty. The battlefield is already set. But here's the question. When the 2027 reset comes and the aero wings fall off, who will be standing tallest? The alien-born data addicts or the man who grew up fighting gravity itself? Comment your prediction before the new war begins. The collapse won't come from failure. It'll come from expectation. Every camera, every commentator, every paddock whisper will demand proof. Proof that Toprak's talent translates. Proof that the same man who tamed R1s can now survive M1s. But MotoGP isn't fair. It eats proof and spits doubt. The Yamaha project has been in the mud since Quartararo's 2022 peak. Toprak will inherit the same DNA. An engine starving for top speed, aero packages that steal agility, and electronics that feel a generation behind. He's walking into a war zone wearing a cape of belief. There will be crashes. There will be weekends where he finishes P17, arms crossed, sweat falling like failure. The camera will find him staring at the floor of the pit box, his body language a silent riot. But he won't break. He doesn't have that gene. This isn't Rossi chasing a final spark. This isn't Lorenzo fading out. This is a man who understands suffering, who turned a satellite Yamaha into a world title once and a factory BMW into a monster later. The collapse will belong to others. The overhyped rookies who panic when data doesn't flatter them. The veterans who cry foul when the 2027 rulebook wipes their advantage. Because when the new tires arrive, Pirelli, Toprak's old language, he won't be learning. He'll be remembering. The same way he remembered Donington 2021 when he beat Ria in a head-to-head that looked supernatural. The same way he remembered Mandalika 2022 when he took a triple win in rain and chaos. MotoGP's collapse is coming, but not his. By 2027, the old guard will realize they're fighting a man who's been waiting for this exact scenario. Less aero, less electronics, more rider. A championship closer to raw physics than data. That's not regression. That's resurrection. So, who really collapses when the rulebook resets? The man entering a new universe or the universe that underestimates him? Drop your verdict in the comments. History's about to find out. Toprak Razgatlioglu isn't a gamble. He's a prophecy disguised as a risk. His 2025 season in World SBK wasn't dominance, it was rehearsal. Every overtake, every last lap duel, every braking experiment was a lab session for MotoGP. 13 wins straight, 616 points. These aren't numbers, they're coordinates for the kind of madness he's about to unleash. He's entering a paddock obsessed with perfection, and he's built from imperfection. His technique isn't clean, it's violent. His corner entries are ugly, his body position unorthodox, his bike always on the edge of mutiny. But that's his charm. That's his weapon. MotoGP has become too surgical, too predictable, too addicted to software. Toprak is the glitch. He'll make data engineers cry, tire technicians question their calibration, and riders doubt their courage. Because his goal isn't to blend in, it's to contaminate the matrix. By 2027, when the grid resets under new regulations, he'll walk into the chaos already calibrated for it. No winglets, no 1,000-page aero manuals. Just man and machine again. And when that happens, remember this moment, when the world laughed at the idea of a 29-year-old World SBK veteran trying to survive MotoGP. Because special things take time. And Toprak's timing has always been cruelly perfect. He doesn't need to win on debut. He just needs to survive long enough for the rules to tilt his way. And when that day comes and he breaks 15 meters deeper than anyone thought possible, when he slides into a victory that rewrites Yamaha's obituary, the world will understand. He wasn't here to adapt. He was here to reset the grid. The story isn't, can Toprak win? It's what happens when MotoGP realizes he can. From now, where does this put him? The time will tell us. Comment your prophecy. And subscribe, because the storm's just finding its throttle.